On my first day, I've done varied things because I knew I wanted to get somewhere. I had some vision of myself, probably then, 5-10 years later, but I did not know how. The only thing I knew was I wanted to learn. I always used to tell myself, if you have to run your own business, what are the things you need to know? How would you run it? So that was one question I always had in my mind, and that's why I started with brand consulting. I worked in a brand consulting firm. I wanted to get into fashion, anything to do with retail. That was something very new. All my peers were starting in IT, which was a very well-paying job, and here I was wanting to get into clothing and accessories and anything to do with fashion and lifestyle, which so many years back was really not a career option for an MBA student. So after my brand consulting, I got a break in an accessory firm. I did that. I got a break in Landmark Group. I joined there. I started with a sales profile because I was like, I have to get my hands dirty and I really need to know how this whole operational efforts pay off. I moved on to a product role, which was in Splash, which is a fashion format of Landmark Group in Middle East, and that was in 2008 recession. I wouldn't say similar to what's happening now, but some sort of a bad phase for the industry, and that's when I got a very large opportunity of something that I'd never done before. So I took it up instead of getting worried, and I was like, this is the best time I would get, and it was pretty early on in my career. So obviously, to recognize the fact that you get bigger opportunities when the external environment is not great. I think that's one important lesson that I learned. I was interacting with the team in Dubai, traveled abroad for the first time, did a lot of things for the first time in the middle of recession. And I took it up, and those 3 years were really my transformational years. It was my foundation setting. A lot of what I know today is thanks to those 3 years. Post that, I moved to the marketing wing of lifestyle to manage the brand lifestyle. I did that for a couple of years, and then came this opportunity of AMANTE, which was a lingerie brand owned by MAS Holdings, which is a $2 billion company based out of Sri Lanka. I also, as a woman, I really had a keen interest in growing women categories because 6-7 years back, things like beauty, lingerie, all that were very nascent, and it was considered risky categories. But I took it up because there was an opportunity to create a brand from almost a zero base. And digital was coming up newly. Even large brands wouldn't spend sufficiently on digital or at all, and would not build brands through social media. But at Amante, we build the brand through influencers, through digital, through e-commerce. We got the first mover advantage partnering with e-commerce players. So I did that for about 6 years, and the growth at the brand was really phenomenal. We did a lot of exciting things, and then came this opportunity of DUROFLEX. So currently, I'm VP marketing, and I'm marketing and e-commerce at DUROFLEX. It's been about 6 months. DUROFLEX is a sleep solution brand, and the main product play currently is mattresses. I think it's been a very exciting journey for me here as well. I've been able to get my learnings of consumer behavior. Ultimately, consumer is all that you need to understand, what they need, how are you going to connect with them, what's the conversation you're going to make. So through this period of Corona, I think it's been a more faster journey for us to educate consumers on the importance of sleep, because health and immunity, all these conversations are something consumers are willing to listen to, and that's a conversation we've been making because that's the business we are in. It's helped me understand, and that's also an advice that I'd want the youngsters to know, that you shouldn't worry about results. You should know what you're good at, what you want to do, and take that leap of faith. As I was saying, as an individual also, the biggest high and the biggest learning or the growth comes from times which are most crucifying externally. So while Corona is definitely the most difficult time we have seen for generations as humanity, it's also what you do to it. Okay, it's happened. You if you don't have any other choice or an attitude but just to brood over it, there is also a lot of opportunity that comes out of it, and that's what me as an individual or as a professional and people at DUROFLEX as a team have done. We immediately jumped when Corona became a reality in India. We jumped to not to market but to educate consumers how sleep builds immunity, and it's very critical to keep your immunity during these trying times. That was a conversation we always wanted to make, we were trying to make, but in the clutter of trying to sell, in the clutter of trying to market ourselves, and also consumers not being ready to hear these conversations, it was not that far-fetching. But with everything equalized, pens becoming zero, nobody marketing, and consumers being at home understanding and looking for information around health and immunity, sleep is a very important pillar to build immunity, and that was a reality. It was not that something we made up. So we tried to put that conversation with zero marketing spends for the first 3-4 months without trying to sell. And that really has gotten us far and probably is giving us the results that we are seeing today. DUROFLEX is almost a 5-decade-old brand, and it has a large network of retailers. So not to disturb that, they were not very aggressive on e-commerce earlier. They did set up a sister brand to take on that wave. But with Corona coming in, we realized that a brand cannot be separated from offline and online as separate consumers, because they are the same consumer today. You should be available everywhere as a brand, and let the consumer choose, how and when they want to shop. Because I came with that experience and the management had faith, it was very easy for me to convince the management, and of course from their own experience of their sister brand, they knew that it was a large opportunity. As a team, we were reading data very closely, we were understanding. So it's also important to be part of a team that believes in what you're saying, that thinks like you, or is open-minded enough to change their perspective. And that happened for us very organically. Everybody came together and understood that we need to be aggressive and be present on all these platforms and put our voice out there, because that's the only option. That was the only option few months back. So we set up a strong foundation immediately. We got into action. Our social media was anyway making very strong conversations, and probably our engagement rates are highest in the industry, in the category right now, right from March onwards. While many of us will get back to work, the physical world will come into play. We don't know when, but let's say even by next year, there will be a part of us which will still behave in this way. So a lot of work from home. Some of the IT companies have announced work from home till mid next year. Even if they do go back after that, there will be a sizable portion of their time at work which will be work from home. So we did our last product launch virtually to an all India press meet. We did it to our traders virtually, and we realized it's so much more effective. So we can do a lot more of it. While we'll definitely want to come back the meet and greet sessions in the physical world, we would keep these kind of activities going. We would keep our interactions with consumers virtually going. So a lot of virtual connect and work from home trends, home improvement trends, where you really are focusing on improving your home, will stay. Your focus on health and immunity as a consumer would stay, because that's an awareness, and it would help categories like ours, which is about sleep, and we would further improve our product line, expand our product line to cater to that. What I would like to say is, while there's still a struggle to get us equal stakes, it is a forum where we are willing, there's a forum where women are being heard. We need to make the right conversations, and we need to be clear of what we deserve. So it's a much better time to be a professional while it's still not equal, and probably we should seek for more equality in opportunity than equality in number, and take it in the negative direction, because equality in number should happen by merit, but at least equal opportunity. That in my early years, definitely, there were a lot of times where I would feel, am I doing the right thing? Am I really sounding a little rebellious? Because being confident and being clear was considered rebellious, for women professionals. The numbers were far too few, and even the women that were there in workforce were very timid. I wouldn't say it was only because of the environment at work. It was because of the way we were brought up. We were similarly at home also. So we would have very timid personalities where we would not have a voice. We would not speak out. We would not put our point of view across, and therefore it was not considered important. So for me, equality is not being a woman professional, but it is about forgetting that I'm a woman professional. So that's something that I think we have, come a long way, and we should get better at it. We should not mistake feminism for trying to get freebies, because it takes against the hard work that a lot of women or even men who are feminists have put in. I think feminism purely stands for having equal opportunity. It does not stand for having a quota system, because we are not handicapped. We are not from a particular society. So I don't think we should be happy if freebies are thrown around, or or want those. We should simply want equal opportunity, equal voice, equal stake at the table, and not a separate table created for ourselves, because then that goes into a reverse gender isolation, where men will start feeling that if that continues. So that's not what I would definitely want, and I would not want youngsters to start wanting their rights separately, but just want equal opportunity so merit comes up. And we should not, as I said, we should not be seen as women anymore. We should be seen as professionals irrespective of gender. I think the difference between probably what we saw many years back and now is empathy is a very, very important aspect that you must have to be able to lead. I think the walls of trying to boss over a team versus trying to be part of the team and grow the team, those walls have shattered. So it's very important to be empathetic, to lead more than be bossy. So even while you're growing up the ladder, keep in mind that people around you matter much more than just looking at the top, because the hierarchy system is kind of passé. It's really what you build around you that you'll be remembered for. It's back to being jack of all trades. Know what the future is like. Prepare yourself in your field for the future. Don't try to be a frog in the well by knowing something that you're doing today extremely well and that's it. You have to learn, you have to predict, you have to read data and know what's coming and be prepared for that. Futuristic perspective and empathy are the two most important qualities for me as a professional.